What's going on, guys? No guys here. Welcome back to another video. This will be the 5-2-1-2 instructions and tactics and how to use it. Probably one of my most favorite formations right now. I've been using it so much. You guys probably see me use it on stream. Everyone's been asking me about these specific tactics. It's such an amazing formation. It's probably the most balanced formation when you're attacking and defending. And what I mean by that is when you're defending, 5 defenders, they come back, your left back and your right backs, they tuck into the centre to the centre back, should I say rather, and they defend in a 5 defender line. Obviously really good for stability. But when you're attacking, they fly forward. Just look at the transition here. They fly forward and they create such width. It's really dynamic because essentially it gives you different outlets. You can obviously go down the wing. Of course, you know, to defend against this, it's impossible because the players are running at you, and obviously if you're playing against the 4-2-3-1, which is probably the most meta, or the 4-1-2-1-2, there's a lot of players congested in the middle of the pitch. That in turn makes the wide areas exploited. So as you can see in these footages, my left back and right back, when they fly forward, they're basically unmarked. And obviously this creates multiple things. It's amazing for cross play. So if you cross the ball, this is 100% the formation for you. Of course, you know, you have your 2 strikers, and then you have the left back and right back that fly forward, and then you have the center cam as well that provides the counter outlet player. And you can't even defend against this because this is just, I can't think of any other reason apart from it just being too OP. I did create this towards the latter end of FIFA, to be honest. The reason why you need high stamina, it's really important that you have the high stamina in these fullback positions. You can use defensive players, but you can also use players like, you know, if you have a Mane, a team of the season, or Mbappe team of the year, you could use players like that because these guys are going to be the guys that are going to defend against the alternators. So when someone goes down the wing against you and they cross the ball in, these will be the players that will defend against the alternators and the flick up crosses. But more importantly, when you're attacking, they're going to fly forward. So when they're down the wing, you want those players in a position to either cut inside, take a shot, or do a cross. Now obviously with this formation there is some weaknesses. Of course you can be caught in behind, but if you look at this footage over here, you see that when you do lose the ball and you have 3 defenders back, you do have 2 centre mids. They do provide stability, but let's just say you lose the ball with your centre mids. In a rare occasion you do that. What essentially happens is that your 3 centre backs will be defending. Don't push with them too much. Your left back and right backs will come and defend, and they'll retreat. So they'll fly forward and they'll come back and defend. So don't worry about that. That's why it's really important to have high stamina. So you're very rarely going to get caught in behind. And of course, if you have the ball in the middle of the pitch, you always have an outlet pass to the wing. Just look at these clips. You're always going to have the ability to pass to a wing if you're ever in trouble down the middle or you're getting pressed heavily. This is a really good formation if you're getting pressed a lot. If you find that you're struggling, you can use this formation. And the best thing is about this, unlike the blitz tactic that I devised, people were complaining that it's a bit too elaborate, it's a bit too complicated the way you have to activate the D-pad tactics. The best thing about this formation, there is no D-pad tactics whatsoever. You don't have to use hug the sidelines, you don't have to use anything. You just play the normal way. So this will work for every single player, any skill group. Now, this is very similar to this. So you've probably seen the 3-5-2 before. It's becoming very much a more, I would say more common now. People have been using it much more. But the problem with the 3-5-2 in comparison to the 5-2-1-2 is, with the 3-5-2 is you kind of have, so instead of the left back and the right backs, you have the left mid and right mids. Now there is problems that I think in my perspective, I would personally like to have the five defenders that are back, because what happens is sometimes when you get a ball in behind, let's say the meta is now, let's be completely honest, shooting outside the box and of course going down the wing. When you're playing the 3-5-2, your left back and your right backs are now left mids and right mids, and they're a bit too far forward. Now this creates 2 problems. One, a through ball can be played in between the centre backs and the left mid and right mid. Unless you're a very good defender, you're really going to struggle with using the 3-5-2. That's why I'd recommend this over it. And more importantly, the best thing is that because your fullbacks, they fly forward, it creates even more confusion. So when you're up against a player, or should I say when you're using this tactic and the players again up against you, it's difficult because these guys are making very late runs down the wing, and you can't manually man mark this. You see, why this formation is almost genius as well is because when these guys run forward in their respective lanes, right, they run forward. Now let's say you're going up against 4 centre backs in general. Now the 2 centre backs are going to be occupied in the middle, and what happens is the left back and the right back, they have to either A, split up, which will create more space in the middle for all your players to attack, or B, they'll just tuck in. So they'll tuck in to the centre backs. Now what's that's going to do? That's going to create you 2 outlets. One, in either situation, one, you're going to have a free position, as you can see in these clips here. You're going to have the ball in the wing easily, or 2, your opposition will be committing towards the middle, and you'll have more, committing towards the wide areas to mark. So you're, in a sense, your opposition's left back and right back has to mark your left back and right back. So it creates more space in the middle. It's a really good formation, and as I said, the transition between when you defend and when you attack is not an issue. So getting into the tactics more importantly. Sorry, it's been a bit long. This video has been a bit long. I had to really explain everything in detail, just to avoid the questions later on. But of course, you can ask any questions you want. So the tactics, let's go straight into it now. Tactics balanced. There's no point using drop back because you want the left back and right backs. You don't want them to be further back. You want them to be in a position where, because you have 5 defenders, there's no need to play drop back. You have obviously the 2 centre mids as well, providing you stability. So you got the 5 defenders and the 2 centre mids. So you don't have to worry about having drop back on. I would just say use balance. And the good thing is with balance, they're higher up the pitch. So when you do lose the ball and you recover the ball, they're going to fly forward. Width, I went with 5. It's quite a wide formation, of course, and I think you want your fullbacks to tuck in. You don't want them too wide, as you don't want to create a gap. So if you imagine 3 defenders, let's just say the 3 centre backs, you don't want to have too wide of your left back and right back, because you're going to create gaps on the wing. So I think 5 gives the perfect balance. Depth, 4, I still think that you want them to be further back. See, problem is with high depth, they'll be really far forward, and I think the late runs in the box is what kills your opponent. If your left back and right backs makes the run very late into the game, your opposition won't see them. Whereas if they're higher up the pitch in the first place, your opposition will know where they are subconsciously, so it'll be easier for them to defend. That's why it's more logical to have 4 or 5 depth, then that way your fullbacks will run forward and cause confusion. Fast build-up play is very important. That's what makes the fullbacks run forward. That's why you don't need to use no D-pad tactics, attacking fullbacks during the attack or hug the sidelines. Fast build-up play, the left back and right back just shoot forward completely, and obviously that makes it really OP. And of course you have the cam, and then you have there's 2 strikers. So these guys are going to run forward down the middle, and this guy's going to be the kind of playmaker, and then you're going to have the left back and right back creating width. So you have 2 options. You have the very wide players to pass through, or you have like a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. In some respect, this can be like a 4-1-2-1-2 when you're attacking, but you just have of course the overlapping of the defenders. Now width, 7 or 8. I would say 7 or 8. I went towards 7. The reason why is because you want to be wide as possible, because these players are going to be, they're going to be very narrow. And what's the width going to affect is the width's going to affect these players over here and the centre mids. And the logic is that there's going to be 2 outcomes, either that you're going to have space down the wing or you're going to have space down the middle. So the good thing is with the width, it just allows that to happen. I've tested many things. You just have to trust me on this. Use 7 or 8. I think 7 is probably the best balance. You don't want it too high, because you don't want the transition from defensively and then attacking to be really wide. You just want it to be not too far. But I'll probably go with 7. Plays in the box. Now, you can increase this, of course, but I went with 6. The reason why is you already have the 2 strikers and the cam, and then the left mid and right mids are going to be really far wide, like for example in this clip. So you don't really need that many players in the box. Of course, you can always adjust the instructions if you want more players into the box. And corners and free kicks, however you please. Just one thing I would say, with corners, I wouldn't really go, me personally, I wouldn't really go above 2 with this formation. That's just my personal opinion. Now, instructions, both the strikers on getting behind, you want them just to get in behind, basically. Once you get a pass, you want to pass the ball to your strikers and hold the ball up, and then wait for your left back and right back to then commit forward and then make the pass to them. Of course, that's one option. But typically speaking, I would say getting behind. Don't worry about stay central, because they will let AI do the decision making. Sometimes your fullbacks will drag your opponent's defenders away, so you don't want them to drift wide. So just leave it unbalanced. So just getting behind, and don't worry about stay forward either. Now, the cam, I would say balanced. Don't put him on stay forward, because you're already going to be extremely attacking, so there's no need to have this guy on stay forward. You'd rather have this guy to be as a kind of a number 10, getting the ball from midfield and then running forward with the ball and then passing to the strikers or the fullbacks. Of course, if you want more support in the box, remember I was saying earlier, with players in the box, if you want more players in the box, just add the instruction to your cam to get inside the box if you do want to do the driven crosses, or if you play someone like Ibrahimovic or Team of the Season Havertz or Heung-min Son, someone like that, and of that nature anyway. Now the left mid and right mids, the left centre mid and right centre mid, should I say rather, both on stay back while attacking. Don't worry, they'll still be attacking. It's just that you want them to be back just in case you lose the ball. And the most important thing is cover wing. You don't need to cover the centre. The reason why is the centre is almost covered by your three centre. You already have the three centre backs covering the centre, right? And then you have essentially the midfielders. Now the reason why you want them on cover wing is when these guys fly forward, there is a possibility that the wing area, when you lose the ball, so let's say for example in this clip I lose the ball higher up the pitch, you have to wait for your left back and right backs to retreat back to a defensive position. So that is why it's really important you have these guys on cover the wing, because then these guys can essentially cover for the position. So if for example you lose the ball and someone decides to exploit the wing's positions, at least these guys will kind of go back and help contain that area and wait for your fullbacks to retreat in position. Now for the three centre backs, all stay back while attacking. Now the left back and right back, both of them unbalanced. Fast build up play, you don't have to put them on during the attack. Fast build up play makes them run forwards. Remember how I was talking about using fast build up play? That's why when you get the ball, that's why they fly forward, because they're unbalanced. With fast build up play, they'll fly forward. That's how it essentially works. I would say use fast build up play. It's very important. That's how you create a lot of confusion when you're running forward. As I said, you can afford to use fast build up play because it's also a very attacking formation, but it's also very defensive, if that makes sense. So you're not going to have a problem with defending. You have the two centre mids anyway, and the three centre backs, worst case scenario if you are dispossessed. And overlap. Of course, why overlap is important. Now I've tried inverted, but it's not worth it. Make sure these guys aren't overlap, because you want them to create as much width as possible, obviously to stretch the play, to create more space in the middle, and of course to have an attacking option down the wing. Now that's the instructions. It's, as I said, in terms of players, to be completely honest, you can get away with anyone on left back and right back as long as they've got very high stamina. So for example, in this case I have Kimmich and Da Costa, very high, good players with very high stamina, 92, and I think Kimmich has 99 stamina, so they can fly back and forth. Of course, the faster the player, the better it is, because you want them to transition from defense to attack as fast as possible. I have used the cheaper players. I have used players like Ferland Mendy, the gold card, should I say, the 77 the variation, not even upgraded one with 80 stamina. It does work, but it's not as effective. Unless you're really good at defending, I would say, to be honest, I would probably go with one of the team of the seasons. Players like Mbabu, these are very, very fairly cheap. I mean, if you did SPC, anyone's got 99 stamina, probably the best thing to do. Now, you can, of course, use players like, for example, Fellaini, even though he's got 75 stamina. I've actually used him here in some of the clips. You can see I've used Fellaini. One other thing you can do is, if you're very good at defending, is you can have a very attacking player in these positions. So you can have, for example, so I've tried Aouar and Mane in the left back and right back. Just put a sentinel on them, because they've got very good base stats, these guys. And the good thing is, when they get the ball in an attacking position, they can also shoot from that angle. They can cut in, or they can do a La Croqueta, or they can do an alternator if that's the way you play. So it gives a really good dynamic. You just got to slap a sentinel on these kind of guys. Like Aura is a perfect example because he's such a fast player, good stamina, good all around. He's a perfect player to put in the left back, right back position. Although his jumping is not the best, he's still very good. But I would recommend someone like Mane on one side. He's got really good jumping. Probably put a sentinel on him, and on Mane on one side, as a left back, and maybe someone like Team of the Year Mbappe if you have the money, of course. There are cheaper options you can go with. For example, Mascherano. This guy is a sub, incredible. I have tried Tyrone Mings, also a very good player. Stamina does lack though, you might have to sub him off, but he is very good in that position. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, sorry for the delay. I had to essentially ensure that the tactics are 100% correct, and I know this is the last team in the season, ultimate team in the season, so do try this tactic out. Try it in Rivals first, don't go into the weekend league just using it. Try it in Rivals first, see how it goes. If you have any questions anyway, let me know in the comment section down below. I think this will probably be the last formation video for FIFA 20 anyway, because let's be honest, I mean FIFA 19 should I say rather, because FIFA 19 has probably come to its close after this ultimate team. But I may make some other small videos, maybe like in regards to goalkeeper movement or something that can help you in this upcoming team of the season, ultimate team of the season should I say rather. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you again next time. Take it easy boys.